This is Aztec 101, response to John Boxing. Real quick, I saw your video, so I thought I'd talk about it and continue on the conversation. Great channel. I recommend everyone go check them out. Now, man, I'm thrown off by the video only because I don't understand where this whole talk about pulling guns and pointing them and having a grudge against African Americans and that you're not our enemy. Like, when did we make you our enemy? Like, when did we mark you guys as our enemy? When did you get the idea? The memo has not reached me that African Americans are the enemy. I was not raised thinking that. No one told anyone around me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, that's and don't confuse my tone for anger towards you. It's just I'm a little bit passionate about this because it, it's it it pisses me the fuck off, man. You talk about history that black people and Hispanics, and I don't even like that term. I'm Mexican, all right? You can call me Mexican. I don't find that fucking disrespectful. You don't have to think about anything else. I'm Mexican. Mexican American. You can call me that, right? But the point is that, you know, I agree with a lot of the core of what you said. Coming together and we share a lot of the same history, dealing with a lot of the same circumstances. It's a shame because you bring up a lot of things that I don't know where you're getting your information from, man. Like, how do you feel that we've targeted you as the culprit? You bring up, like, we're not the ones that stole your land. Who the fuck said you did? Like, that type of energy kind of trips me out just because I don't understand where it comes from. The main thing, you brought up Obama and bro, like, I think it was in 2008, 65% Hispanic vote favor of Obama, right? In 2012, you had like 70% over that Hispanic vote. So, like, when you say a lot, oh, a lot of people, they disrespect and they don't care about by a lot. Like, what do you mean? Because most were the reason why he's in office. Like, why is it always the negative shit that gets, like, so much focus, right? I don't understand why you feel like historically we've turned against you or some shit. Like, where the fuck has that come from? Like, that's the exact opposite. I mean, look at your history. Look at where the Underground Railroad led. Where was one of its destinations? Think about it. Look it up. Right? When it comes down to the civil rights movement, when you had the assassination of Martin Luther King, who continued on the poor man's march after that? Look it up. All right, we've been there silently. We don't ask for shit, but we've been there. And it trips me the fuck out because there's a lot of, for some reason, like this, I hear a lot of this shit, like, oh, Mexicans are trying to be black and shit like that. And it especially when someone has a certain slang, or they listen to hip hop, or they dress a certain way, right? They talk a certain way, certain swag, right? That you usually get from the music and what you see, what you're raised around, right? For some reason, it's it's like a negative thing, like they're trying to act black, right? I remember in the '90s when Eazy-E was still alive, early '90s, late '80s. Um, I remember, I remember those albums when I was a kid. Early '90s, you know, late '80s hip hop. I remember a lot of East Coast hip hop was different, even the dress, right? And when I started seeing West Coast hip hop grow in the mid '90s and late '90s, you know, I saw them dress. The reason why I liked it so much was it came from where I was from, but what I was looking at was Chicano culture being represented in their clothing and in the music videos. I saw lowriders. I saw flannel shirts. The type of flannel shirts that you inherit from your dad after he worked a field. Those flannel shirts, right? I saw them. The sweaters, the lokes, right? You have photos of Easy E with one button up. The rest are undone. Just the top one, right? Where's that come from, right? That was around since the '70s and '60s in East LA, right? So when I saw that shit, I was like, oh shit, there's something that's silent, and it was that right there. That was the difference between West Coast and East Coast. The sound was different too, but man, the clothing, the fashion, the swag, everything, that was different. Why? Chicano influence. But it's silent. Shh. Don't talk about it. Look it up. There's just a lot of shit that you brought up that it's just a lot to go on, where I'm thinking, like, where in history can you tell me where we're making you the enemy? Where that's our mission, is to overthrow and the black man. Like, when? One thing that pisses me off is that, like you said, even in boxing, it spills over in boxing. Canelo fans are Mexican. Floyd fans are black. You know, Pacquiao's fans are obviously Filipino, right? They have to be, right? Obviously, duh. That's just not the case, and I know that. And one thing that pisses me off is that, fact is that Floyd has more Mexican fans than he has black fans. Period. You see who lines up and who buys these T-shirts, and who gets them signed, who goes to his events and cheers, gets them signed. They're all Latino kids, Mexican kids, and fans. But for some reason, we're the villain. We're the ones that want to bring them down. We're the ones that want them to lose. And then it becomes to the point where it's a negative thing to root for a Mexican fighter. Like now it's a like fuck, like now it's a negative. Now I can't even fucking cheer for a Mexican fighter. I can't without getting some kind of backlash. It's kind of frustrating that um it gets down to that, but I know that it's YouTube, and the whole point is getting different opinions, right? But in the end, when you get someone like what had happened, which was someone coming on my channel and just getting racist on me. I mean, I dealt with it the way I wanted to deal with it, and it was focused on him. It had nothing to do with you. I mentioned nothing about anyone else. I didn't bring anyone else into this. You don't have to feel like you have to explain yourself for them. And I don't even think you addressed it. I don't even think you knew what the video was about. But that's what had happened. So I'm kind of wondering again, I want to end it with this. Why was the video directed towards me? When I was, you know what I mean? Like I was the one that was being insulted. Again, we're talking, continuing on the conversation, but I don't understand where you're getting your information, where you think, the guns are pointed at you and or black people in general by Mexicans or Latinos. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. Because I don't speak for anyone else. I don't know what census you've been reading, what polls have been made, but you've been, for some reason, people get so good at not trusting the media, but when it comes down to Mexicans and Latinos, they believe everything they hear, and it's kind of sad, man. You know, especially after all the shit, Jim Crow laws, everything, all the shit, the lynching, all that shit. That shit happened. That shit happened to us too. Read your history. Just I really think that we could talk this out. Positive conversation. This is Aztec 101 in the ring. John Boxing. Hope you have a happy 4th of July. And